Hey, Treyton, how are you, man?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. So I saw you played hockey in high school. I'm wondering what position you played, and if you can compare yourself to an NHL guy, who would it be? And I saw you had 24 penalty minutes in 23 games, so I want to congratulate you on that.
Yeah, I played hockey and I was a left wing. And I guess I would like to compare my game to Zach Parise's game. Just like the work ethic and always going, always going. Not always getting the goals, but just always there for his teammates and always working hard. I suppose, I was never the more crafty, skilled guy, but I was always the guy that was a bruiser. So that was the penalty minutes. But yeah.
Yeah, the other stat that Cody brought up to Craig was that I believe you have more receiving yards in high school history than Larry Fitzgerald. That's got to be pretty surreal, like to think about.
Yeah, that was a really cool moment when I found that out. I didn't even know until our senior night banquet. Coach Bauman, our head coach at the time, stood up and went through the stats, and it shocked me. But I was really grateful to be in that position. So it was a surreal moment for sure. I looked up to Larry Fitzgerald many times throughout high school and elementary school, and I think he's one of the most underrated receivers in the league for sure.
Craig mentioned you specifically as someone who's looked really dynamic this spring, and he mentioned that you've put on some weight. You've been better all around, and he also brought up your ability to win, the 50-50 ball. I'm curious, one, what is your mindset when going up for a jump ball? But two, where have you kind of seen yourself improve the most this spring and become more dynamic?
Yeah, I'd say credit to the strength staff for putting some weight on. The weight was a huge key factor in what I've been able to do this spring. Just being able to go up and get those 50-50 balls with the knowing of that there's always going to be somebody there in college football. And I found that out throughout the years. And so just always knowing that there's going to be somebody there, you have to be ready for the contact and you have to have, tight hands with the squeeze and catch the ball. And that's kind of what I've had in my head going up for those 50-50 balls is there's some tough dudes out here. So you gotta be the best in what you do. And I guess just the most that I've improved, the biggest area I've improved in is probably those 50-50 balls. I came in my freshman year pretty confident in those 50-50 balls my high school, career. And then getting here, like I said, there's always somebody collapsing on you when the ball's thrown to you. So you just got to be ready with those tough hands. And so I think that's probably my biggest improvement is those 50-50 balls.
How difficult was it transitioning from because you were a wide receiver in high school, correct?
Yeah, yes, sir.
How tough was that transition? I imagine that's got to be a pretty different world to an extent.
Yeah, it was for sure a tough transition. Just always, not always, but being in the trenches, with the linemen and like I said before college, I was never in a 3-point stance in high school. I was always that receiver split out. Even if I was in the backfield, whatever. And so it was a tough transition, but with between Coach Moore and Coach Grant and all these guys that have been able to help me, it's been really a smooth transition, but a tough one.
It sounds like from listening to Coach Bull that your transition's been good enough that the tight end's going to become a more active part of the offense. I mean, that's kind of an honor for you that he would think that, right?
Oh yeah, I'm very grateful for that point of view for sure, and I'm excited because like I said, like I tell the tight ends room, when our name is called, we're gonna go answer that call. So if our name is called, if our number is called, we're gonna go make a play, point blank. So
Yeah, does it feel like you guys are going to maybe have more opportunities in this kind of new looked offense?
yeah, I think Coach Polasek is a big guy on better well done than well said. And so, you can say what you want, you can say all you want, but when you do it well done, it really makes a difference. And so I think we're going to go in with a game plan and we're going to stick to that game plan and we're going to use the tight ends, we're going to use the receivers, we're going to use the backs. I mean, it's going to be a ball game.
Treyton, I saw, speaking of Polasek, I saw that he invited you to Iowa when you were in high school. You spent the day there. I assume you were happy when you found out Wyoming was hiring him as an offensive coordinator?
Yeah, yeah, especially just having that relationship with Coach Polasek, from high school. It was a really smooth transition for OCs for me. I was very blessed to be able to know Polasek and have that pretty good relationship with him from high school going into college here. So when I found out Coach Polasek was our guy, I was pretty excited.
I read a story earlier that said you had a list of goals that you put on your wall all the way from middle school through high school. I'm curious if you still have a list on your wall and if you wouldn't mind sharing, if you do, what your list says.
Yeah, so that list was very special to me, and I started out by saying I want to make the varsity football team. And then I said I wanted to start on the varsity football team. And then I said I wanted to be on the national football team and go to the Nike opening, play Division I football, and then make it to the NFL. And so I was able to, the Lord's will has been able to make me cross off every single one but the NFL so far. And just like going back to better well done than well said is just, I can put that list up all I want, but the more times I look at it, it reminds me that I need to be able to do it actually and be better well done than well said. And actually pursue that. Every time I look at it, remind myself that I got to pursue that with 100 miles an hour. If I make a mistake, it's 100 miles an hour. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I still have a bulletin board with all my goals up there, and I look at it every day, and I remind myself why I'm here. Because everybody has a why, and you just got to stick with that why and know that why. And if you can't get out of it to accomplish that why, then you got to get into it. So my biggest thing throughout this spring ball has been able to just get into it if you can't get out of it in order to get to your why. So.
Where does that mindset come from? Is it something that you learn from your parents? Because not everybody, puts a list up and crosses it off. A lot of people, when they don't get it, they crumple up the list and just pretend it never existed.
Yeah, I would say parents had a huge part to do with it. And also I've been, reading books. I'm a big book reader. The Slight Edge is a great book, and it talks about incremental change over a long period of time. And it talks about just being able to continue with that change and not compare yourself to others when you start to see change, and just keep going, because that 1% better every day will turn into, a huge percentage by the end of the year or 2 years. So it's getting there in the right mindset with your free time. It's filling things with peace, joy, and happiness, as opposed to comparing yourself with others, because as soon as you compare yourself to others, that's when you start to fall back. So it's you versus you in the end of the day.